$250,000. That was the fine they slammed on my front door like a threat scrawled in red paint. An ultimatum from the HOA, and not the kind you can just laugh off. Not when they back it up with lawyers and the threat of police, and, hell, the kind of intimidation you'd expect from a mafia, not a group of retired dentists and lawyers obsessed with beige paint. You know what I mean? They said if I didn't pay, they'd sue, seize my cabin, call the cops, call me a danger to the neighborhood. And sure enough, that morning, I found myself staring down the barrel of a 911 call, right there in my own front yard. But here's what the HOA never seemed to get. Bylaws don't make you God. They can write up whatever they want. In the end, it's just me and them, toe-to-toe in the dark. One wrong move, and this whole neighborhood would finally learn what silence really sounds like. Who's in control then? That's not a question anymore. Let me back up a sec. About 3 weeks before all this madness broke loose, I just decided to fix up the old lakeside cabin my dad left me. It's been in the Mitchell family since before World War II, and that cabin's got more memories soaked into its floorboards than most people pack into a lifetime. It's where Dad taught me to fish, where I learned sometimes silence is the best part of a conversation, and it's where I thought I'd spend early retirement, maybe helping design sustainable homes for small communities, leaving something better behind. The cabin sat right on the water, ringed by old oaks, a private dock built by my grandfather, the wood worn smooth by storms and decades of use. That's when she showed up. Rachel Morrison, HOA president, former corporate attorney, Wharton MBA, sharp as a tack, always dressed like she'd just come from a meeting with the board of Goldman Sachs. She carried a fat manila folder like a sword. Didn't even wait to be invited onto my porch. "Mr. Mitchell," she started, voice clipped, eyes cold. "We need to discuss some violations." And when she opened that folder, I swear you could smell the ink. 200 pages of bylaws and amendments, updated 6 months ago, each more ridiculous than the last. Navy blue paint on the cabin? Not allowed. Had to be approved earth tones. The oaks, planted by my grandfather, were now considered boundary encroachment. The dock, which had stood for 70 years, suddenly needed a modern permit. Even my solar panels, installed so the place would be off-grid, were a visual disruption. It was laughable, except she wasn't laughing, and neither was I when she started adding up the fines. $50,000 for aesthetics, $75,000 legal fees, $100,000 for landscape restoration, $25,000 admin penalties. And when I asked for the actual rulebook justifying this shakedown, she just smiled, like a python about to swallow a mouse. "New community standards," she said. "We've had to get more aggressive." Yeah, aggressive was one way to put it. But here's the twist. As she rattled off violation after violation, she mentioned their new community surveillance system. Cameras everywhere, all tied into our upgraded digital infrastructure. And that hit me like a punch. Because I built that system. 15 years ago, my company, Mitchell Engineering, laid every foot of fiber optic, set up every server, every camera, every grid in Pine Lakes. And our contract? Still active. Meaning, I had full legal access. They'd forgotten whose hands built their digital kingdom. That night, I called Maria, my wife of 12 years, trauma surgeon, unflappable except when it comes to HOA nonsense. "David, you sound rattled," she said. And yeah, I was. But she reminded me, they picked the wrong fight. You literally built the ground under their feet. She wasn't wrong. Before I went into private engineering, I spent a decade with the FBI Cybercrimes Unit and NSA, tracking money laundering through digital breadcrumbs nobody else could see. So, after I hung up, I fired up my old workstation in the basement, logged in, legally, and started digging. Within an hour, I was inside the HOA's network, and what I found chilled me. The HOA wasn't just raking in money from fake violations, they were spying on everyone. 47 households, filmed and recorded, private footage sold to marketing companies. Worse, Rachel's email wasn't just with other board members. There were encrypted messages to something called Pinnacle Development Group. I'd never heard of them, but their digital footprint screamed big money, big reach. Next morning, Rachel emails her ultimatum, 72 hours or foreclosure. Community standards are non-negotiable, but email metadata always tells more than you want. Rachel's email routed not through HOA servers, but through Pinnacle's. She was a puppet. Someone else was running this show. As I sat in my father's old chair, staring at the lake, I realized this wasn't about paint or trees or docks. This was a power play, and they just tried to roll over the one guy who knew every back door in their system. So I responded, "Miss Morrison, I have my own findings to discuss. Let's meet." Then I documented everything, every file, screenshot, digital hash. Because in 71 hours, Rachel was going to learn what happens when you poke the wrong bear. That morning, a new camera appeared on the utility pole, pointed straight at my porch. I pulled out my old NSA frequency analyzer. 5 cameras, hidden in street signs, electrical boxes, every one of them piggybacking on my old network. These weren't cheap HOA gadgets. They were military-grade, the kind used for long-term federal surveillance. Worse, the footage wasn't just me. It was 47 houses, 24/7, undisclosed. And I found logs showing the same tech in 4 more communities, 50 miles out. This was organized crime, not a nosy neighbor. Digging deeper, I used an admin backdoor that I'd left in, call it paranoia or foresight, and found Rachel wasn't the mastermind. She was following orders from Miss K. The instructions were chilling. Target the Mitchell property first, escalate if resisted. There were financial records, $127,000 missing from HOA funds, moved to Rachel's account, then offshore to Lakeshore Holdings LLC in the Caymans. Fake landscaping contracts, non-existent security bills. The whole HOA was a money laundering front. I reached out to Marcus, old friend from the FBI, now county detective. Explained everything. Long pause. "David, be careful. We've heard whispers, HOA activity. All our investigations get shut down by people with way too much authority. Somebody's protecting this, and they're deep." That evening, my power got cut. No storm, just me. Cabin dark, the rest of the block lit up like Christmas. Someone was sending a message, but I designed the grid. Flipped my own backup, traced the command, came straight from Pinnacle's server. And then, a black limousine, tinted glass, sat outside 10 minutes. Didn't even bother hiding. But I had eyes everywhere. The same surveillance system they used on me. It caught them in 4K. License plate, faces, even directional mics picking up their conversation. That's when Wilson showed up. Guy looked like he walked out of a boardroom. $10,000 suit, maybe 60, silver hair, the kind of confidence that makes you want to punch him just to see if he flinches. He introduced himself, representing certain interests. Translation, the real muscle. He knew things about my life he shouldn't. Maria's schedule, my Bitcoin holdings, even the hidden comms gear in my basement. "Information is currency," he said. "Privacy is just an illusion." His offer, $500,000 if I signed over the cabin in 48 hours. Or else, unfortunate incidents would happen to my family. Then he pulled out his phone, photos of Maria leaving the hospital, alone, late at night. Message clear, back down, or the woman I love gets hurt. But Wilson slipped up, referenced my dad's death, details nobody should know unless they were there. Suddenly, it clicked. Dad didn't just have a heart attack. He was murdered for this property. Minutes after Wilson left, Maria called. Her car's computer went haywire, green lights at every intersection, barely missed 2 crashes. The city's traffic grid, my design, being used as a weapon. While Maria called the cops, I made another connection. Jim Patterson, my old college roommate, showed up, face pale. They'd run the same playbook on him. Violations, fines, foreclosure, then ruined his family. Lost his wife's job, daughter arrested. Even his mom's nursing home bills sabotaged. "They don't just take your house," he whispered. "They break your whole life." I hacked deeper. Operation Clearwater. 78 properties targeted for acquisition, $50 million budget, 7 corporations, all funneling through Pinnacle. Every property ranked by resistance. Mine at the top, maximum resistance. Accelerated timeline. Enhanced personal pressure. There was a whole psychological file on me. FBI background, emotional leverage vectors, Maria, Dad's legacy, all of it. At midnight, a distorted voice called, 18 hours, or Maria will have another accident. She won't be so lucky next time. They thought they were anonymous, but the background hum, same as Pine Lake's network. These people were close, and they had no idea who they'd pushed. I activated my war room. Network traffic, forensic tools, every digital move Wilson's people made getting logged and analyzed. Found more than 1 million stolen from HOA accounts, laundered through 15 fake companies. But the real horror was a shadow network hidden in my own system. Someone with government-level skills had set up a secret control grid, allowing them to manipulate everything. Cameras, traffic lights, even 911 dispatch. 3 residents dead in 6 months. Delayed ambulances, misdirected calls. These weren't accidents. They were executions, covered up as system glitches. I called Marcus, needed a diagnostic warrant from the Utilities Authority to legally access and expose the system. He agreed quietly. David, this is bigger than local. The feds want in. Document everything. While I waited, I set a psychological trap, planted fake evidence I was fleeing the country. Within hours, Rachel and Miss K were in panic mode, accelerating their timeline, planning a community meeting to legalize new surveillance. I let them think they'd won, but now I could see their whole operation, who they called, how they moved money, where they made mistakes. Then, just before midnight, Marcus called. The warrant was approved. 24 hours to dig as deep as I wanted. That night, 3 black SUVs boxed my cabin. Main road, forest trail, lakeside. Only the dock was left open, like an invitation to escape by water. But while they watched the lake, I breached Pinnacle's servers straight from my basement. In the CEO's email, Project Lakeshore Renaissance, 12 development firms, targeting 7 states, $240 million in land grabs. The real boss? Catherine Morrison, mayor of our city, Rachel's sister, using her power to grease zoning laws and shield the operation. They'd been planning my removal for 3 years, and Dad's heart attack was just step 1. But that wasn't the end. An encrypted call came in, my dad, alive, from a federal safe house. David, it was all a cover. I've been undercover with the FBI, using my death to get inside Pinnacle. We needed you to draw them out. Maria, it turned out, was an undercover FBI agent assigned to protect me. Her love real, but her mission just as real. Governor Kellerman called. She was being blackmailed, forced to support eminent domain for the development project. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., Kate Morrison would activate the legal seizure of my cabin and 47 others. But I had a plan. Operation Mirror Strike. At 7:30, during Kate's big meeting, I triggered a power diagnostic blackout, legal under my warrant. For 7 minutes, every screen in Pine Lakes broadcast our evidence. Maria's files, Dad's recordings, my network logs, the governor's statements. The HOA board, the mayor, everyone caught on camera, all their crimes exposed, live. When the lights came back on, the FBI was waiting. Kate, Rachel, Pinnacle CEO, 12 board members, arrested on live TV. The blockchain evidence system I built locked down every record, making sure nobody could ever erase what happened. Kate spat at me as they cuffed her. You think you've won, but Pinnacle has resources in 47 states. This isn't over. But her empire was done. Within months, 89,000 families got restitution, $240 million recovered. New laws passed to prevent future abuse. Jim Patterson bought back his cabin. I rebuilt the workshop with my father. Yes, alive and grayer, but free. Maria confessed her secret, and our marriage, if anything, grew stronger. The tech platform I built became a nationwide shield against corrupt HOAs. Even the Canadian police called, inviting me to help fight property conspiracies up north. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder, what if I just paid that fine? Walked away? But I didn't. And now, with communities waking up, with millions fighting back, I know we can win, as long as we stand together. So if you ever find yourself facing down injustice, don't back down. Share your story. Leave a comment. Tell me what you would have done, and if you believe ordinary people can take back their power from corruption. That's how we win.